Welcome to the very first episode of Railcast, my new podcast show about trains on the British rail network. Our headlines today: EMR's new Aurora trains get the green light to enter service. New trains on the DLR network in London withdrawn from service over faulty brakes. Freight train operator launches new Anglo-Scottish freight flow. Network Rail's appeal to overturn a freight path ruling acceptance fails. Open Access Company begins training for its new London Stirling service. And a blood-stained passenger boards an empty train before accessing the cab. Good afternoon. East Midlands Railway, who operates rail services out of London St Pancras and around the East Midlands, have been given the green light to start running their new trains in passenger service from December. The Class 810 Auroras, manufactured by Hitachi, which can run on diesel and electric power, will replace the company's oldest diesel trains, such as the Class 222s. As is the case with new trains, however, the Class 810s have been beset with problems, namely faulty wiring. They were meant to enter service in December 2022, which was then delayed to an unspecified date in 2025, before being delayed again to 2026. The new trains will feature massive improvements to the previous iteration of 8300s, such as the seats in both first and standard class being of a unique design to enhance comfort. With the new trains being only 5 coaches long, however, despite having more seats than the previous Class 222s, I don't think the overcrowding problem will be resolved anytime soon. I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. The Docklands Light Railway that operates train services in and around East London have withdrawn their newest stock from service after an incident in which a train overshot a platform due to an error with the brakes. The new B23 stock trains, manufactured by CAF, were ordered by Transport for London to strengthen services and replace the oldest trains on the network, which includes the old B90, B92 and B2K stock. Having originally been planned to enter service in April of 2024, the trains first started entering service in October this year, and were only in service for a short 6 weeks before being temporarily removed from service. Transport for London has denied that the withdrawal was an embarrassment, but has issued an apology to passengers who have experienced any disruption from this. They have, however, said that they cannot confirm when the trains will return to service as of recording. The new trains contain revolutionary features such as walk-through carriages, air conditioning, power outlets, and dedicated space for passengers with reduced mobility. Moving on, a freight train operator has launched a new Anglo-Scottish freight flow system. Direct Rail Services, who operates freight trains around the north as well as the country's nuclear waste transport, has launched a new service running from the Daventry Freight Terminal in Rugby to the Coatbridge Intermodal Terminal in Glasgow. The service, which was initially part of a long-term trial, will become the Carlisle-based operator's 4th Anglo-Scottish freight service, running 5 days a week, and will use the electro-diesel Class 88 locomotives manufactured by Stadler. The service, which nearly covers the entire length of Britain, aims to offer new opportunities for new freight companies. Before we move on with the second half of this video, I just want to say that most of these articles are going to be at least a week old as of recording, so therefore, some of these articles you might have seen already. Just wanted to give you that heads up. It is also worth noting that this series is really meant for listening as opposed to watching, but there are some points that warrant some attention. Anyway, back to the main programme. Network Rail's attempts to overturn a ruling to accept a path by Freightliner has failed. The company, which maintains the rail infrastructure around Britain, has tried to reject 2 freight paths planned by Freightliner when it was discovered that they had misinterpreted the rules for rejecting such routes. An open access operator has begun training as it prepares to launch its new service from London to Stirling. Lumo, owned by First Group, who already runs 5 trains a day between London and Edinburgh, is to run 5 trains a day beginning in early 2026 using ex-EMR Class 222s. Additionally, of course, Lumo would also like to run a service from Cardiff to Edinburgh and London to Rochdale under a revised bid, the latter of which was rejected by the Office of Rail and Road over capacity grounds in July. And our final story for this video is some pretty grim news coming out of West London today, as a blood-stained passenger boarded an empty train before accessing the cab. The train was forming an empty London Reading service when it was stopped at a red signal over reports of a trespasser in the Southall area at around 11:47 Saturday night on November the 8th. The trespasser then proceeded to walk to the train before being able to access the cab with the driver still inside. Great Western Railway said that while the incident was rather frightening for the driver, they were able to bring the situation under control by raising the alarm with the GWR control team, and the person in question was quickly detained by the British Transport Police under the Mental Health Act. Great Western Railway, who operates services out of London Paddington, the Thames Valley and the South West, are now investigating. And that's pretty much all there is to present. I do apologise if this was a bit short, but as it is the first episode of this series, I'll let it slide. I do hope that the next episode will be longer than this, but I can't guarantee that. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe.